Welcome back to Killer Fun, where we explore the intersection of crime and entertainment every other week. I'm Christy.
And I'm Jackie.
And we're so glad that you're back with us today. We're finally back. We're back from a well-needed break over the summer where we had fresh, brand new content for you. And today we're going to talk about Fargo, the first episode of the television series, not the 1996 film.
Which is what I had only remembered. I had never watched the television series, but I was long overdue.
Oh, yes. It is a darkly comedic and full of crime that's unexpected. In small town Minnesota, this homage to the Coen brothers film of the same name is devilishly delightful.
Love it. Beautiful.
I mean,
well said.
It's so good. It's so funny. My husband and I watched the first episode and we both just adored it. And he's like, you have got to do this for your show. And I said, yes, I do.
Okay.
Yes.
Wow.
Well, it had been on our list ever since we got Hulu, however long ago, 18 months, 2 years, however long ago it was. Mm-hmm. I don't even remember. A while back, maybe longer than that. It had been on our list of things to watch. And we finally fell into a show hole where we didn't have other stuff we were watching.
That's like a term now, you know.
Yeah, a show hole. That's right. When you've binged a thing and you don't know what to watch next.
Yeah. Like, I feel like there's a whole slew of terminology in there that we now use, like show.
It's
Like,
not easy to say.
Wait. Show hole.
Yes.
Feels dirty. I don't know.
Could this show be cast any better?
No.
I don't think that it could.
It's excellent.
I mean, just roundly fantastic. Billy Bob Thornton is Lorne Malvo. And of course, he was in Sling Blade and Simple Plan and Bad Santa and the television series Goliath and a zillion other things. Married to Angelina Jolie. Wore a vial of her blood around his neck. And it was a weird time in the 90s. Yeah, that's a fair way to talk about it. Martin Freeman is Lester Nygart, and probably best known as Bilbo Baggins in the Hobbit series of movies. That was probably his biggest thing.
Probably, but he is so excellent.
He's so great. Alison Tolman is the character with the most made up name in this show.
Yeah.
Molly Solverson, the detective. And this is what I'll always know her from, but her mini bio on IMDb states that she's a native Texan, and it's so funny. It's worth the 30-second read on IMDb because it is delightful. I loved her in this show, and now I love her even more.
Okay,
it's just
dive into that later.
It's so sweet. Bob Odenkirk is Bill Oswald, and of course, I love Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul, and he's been in a zillion other things. And then Colin Hanks is Gus Grimley. Lots of doors, of course, were open to him as the son of Tom Hanks, but he's quite a good actor in his own right.
He's earned it.
Yes.
He's earned to be able to walk through those doors.
Yes, I really loved him in Dexter as Travis Marshall, the religious zealot murderer.
Oh, yeah. He was
so great.
Awesome in that. And he actually played a role in NCIS for a little while, too, where he was like a uptight internal affairs kind of guy who was after Gibbs and, played a good guy, bad guy kind of tension. And it takes a decently awesome actor to be able to do that good guy, bad guy thing.
Yeah. To be, like sympathetic, but also...
We don't like you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go. All right. Are you ready to recap it?
Oh, recap.
Okay. So Lorne Malvo is cryptic from the start. He's obviously brutal. He's got a man in his trunk, but then he tries to avoid a deer and is like really kind with the creature's body when he's unsuccessful at missing said deer. Then throughout the episode, he's deeply antisocial, but in the calmest, most perplexing and almost kind way. Lester Nygart starts out a bit like Charlie Brown a sad sack who's battling with a washing machine and losing. He's utterly browbeaten by his wife, and he's continually being harassed by his childhood bully, and his boring, uninspiring life is turned upside down when Lorne and Lester have a chance meeting in an ER waiting room. The police are either very well suited to being cops in small town Bemidji, Minnesota, or really ill-equipped for more than the mildest of cases. So Bill Oswalt is the latter, with a really weak stomach, and Chief Vern Thurman and Molly Solverson are the former. They're saddened and dismayed by gruesome scenes, but curious and have a sense of righteousness that makes them want to get to the bottom of a string of murders. Murder, mafia-type smuggling, meat, illegal weapons, and the darkest of humor. There is a little something for any crime entertainment aficionado in Fargo.
Love it.
There you go.
That is a wrap.
There you go.
Right there.
Not too spoilery.
Nice.
But yeah.
Yeah, not too spoilery at all. I think we're good.
Yeah. So the first season was really loved by audiences and critics alike. It had 97% approval on Rotten Tomatoes from both the critics and users.
I mean, that's pretty phenomenal.
Pretty unheard of. John Doyle of Globe and Mail said, "What you expect is an homage to the story, and it isn't there. What you get is an homage to the tone and the setting of the movie, and that's why Fargo works as fine TV."
Yes.
Yeah. It may start like Cohen's fan fiction, but the Fargo showrunner Noah Hawley quickly proves he has moves of his own, from William Thomas of Empire magazine, and Jen Chaney of Esquire magazine said, "The cast is uniformly terrific, so strong, smartly assembled that praising every actor worthy of praise could turn this review into a long laundry list of greatness."
Wow. That is overwhelmingly kind.
Yes, I agree. And then Brandon Katz of The Observer said that it's the best anthology series of a bunch of anthology series that are really popular right now. So he, talked about how American Horror Story and True Detective, they're really popular, but Fargo is the best of the bunch. Despite flashier series that utilize the same formula, one self-contained story told over one season before a new, mostly disconnected story is told the next, Fargo is the creme de la creme of the narrative bunch.
Wow, nice.
Yeah.
Boy, people really did love it.
I mean,
as they should, but I'm kind of still...
Are you surprised?
Yeah, I thought there would be a lot more pushback. I did. I thought there would be a lot of people who just weren't ready for that kind of humor.
Well, I guess they'd had long enough to watch the movie Fargo and realize, hey, it's good.
It's good. Yeah.
Hey, dark humor? Yeah, that's all right.
Yeah, but this is a particular brand of dark humor.
It is a particular brand of dark humor.
I mean, even my husband really didn't like the movie. And he barely liked the show. Like, he can tolerate it. Huh. So,
but he's not a Coen Brothers fan, right?
I
think he
up
said
and
that.
Down.
Yeah.
Up and down.
Like sometimes, not so much.
It's just something about that brand of dark, and he likes dark humor, but something about this brand of it.
I don't understand that at all because I just love every minute of it. It's so uniformly.
Ironically, he said it's kind of slow. Which, as if you've listened to our show at all, one of our biggest things is that he loves these really slow movies that I just can't stand. And so ironically, he said it's slow. And I said, that doesn't make any sense. I don't get it.
There's a lot of murders in the first episode.
I mean, there's a lot happening. But I think it's literally he can't stand the slowness of the characters themselves.
Oh, see, I just love that. It's so Minnesota. They nail it.
They nail it. It's kind of amazing. Anyway.
Funny. All right. Well, we're going to take a really quick break and we'll be right back with Is It True, Psychology Break, and Real Life up next.
So here's how it works. Christy wrecks her search history. Hey, an essay. We promise it's nothing more nefarious than a podcast. To find out what's true, some of the psychological motivations behind the characters' actions, and real-life applications that relate to our topic. I have no idea what Christy decided to look up. Could be the same thing that captured my curiosity or something I never thought of.
Is it true? So there is a wild and almost unbelievable claim at the top of every single episode, and it's an homage to the 1996 film Fargo that inspired the series, that it's a true story. Mm-hmm. Is it?
Is it?
All right, so Kaylee Cobb of Decider wrote an article about this. Each episode starts with, "This is a true story. The events depicted in this film took place in location, in year. At the request of the survivors, the names have been changed. Out of respect for the dead, the rest has been told exactly as it occurred." Yeah, it's not true.
Oh,
not even a little. So the Coen brothers film, there were two different true crime stories that they had read about that they combined to make the movie Fargo, but then they wrote a lot of stuff around it, really fictionalizing everything about it, basically.
Right.
Other than the very basis details.
Okay.
Like the very basis of it was sort of based on fact, but two different
Really just
issues.
inspired by.
Really just inspired by. Noah Hawley told Men's Health, "The whole cloth. I didn't go looking for true crime. It started from a character standpoint and everything grew organically out of that." So
Okay.
he didn't even start with a...
Wow, so it's not true at all.
No,
right?
no.
Can they even do that? They can just say it's a true story and it's not.
I mean, doesn't that kind of add to the appeal?
I mean, it does, but
I mean, it's... Who is this bastard and why is he lying to me?
I guess it does, but
There we go.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Lauren hit a deer.
Yeah.
Aw. With a car. It wasn't like it was like he put a hit on a deer. It was he hit a deer with a car.
Which has to be distinguished if you've seen the episode.
Yeah, because he's a hitman.
Yeah.
How likely is it that he would have hit a deer? So I was like, well, it's the middle of nowhere. But it was also very snowy. Mm-hmm. So it was a little bit later in the season than most deer accidents occur in Minnesota.
But it's still possible, right?
It's of course still possible. Most of them happen in the fall during what they call rut, when the deer, making baby deer.
Okay.
Yeah.
They call mating season the rut?
Yeah, rut. During rut. Not the rut, just rut. I don't know. I don't know why.
I'm gonna put on my what face and just hang there for a second. Okay.
Yeah. But it's really common. So Minnesota is the 10th most common state to have a vehicular animal crash.
Okay.
According to State Farm Insurance. The entire country of U.S., your odds of hitting a deer or other animal are about 1 in 116.
Okay.
So those are the ones that are going to require an insurance claim.
Right. Okay.
There, you might hit, plenty of people are going to hit birds or squirrels or
or dog.
Or dog. All kinds of awful things can happen. But in Minnesota, the chance of a collision with an animal is 1 in 64.
Wow.
And that's number 10 out of the United States. The highest likelihood is West Virginia, 1 in 38.
Wow.
So for some perspective on how common that is, 1 in 175 people will be audited by the IRS. You have a 1 in 220 chance of writing a New York Times bestseller.
Wow. That's encouraging.
And a 1 in 563 chance of catching a ball at a Major League Baseball game. So more likely to hit an animal than catch a ball at a Major League game.
That feels like it makes sense to me. That feels right to me.
Yeah.
Not that matters. It doesn't have to feel right to me, but I'm just saying it does.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
Vermont, I'm surprised Vermont's not in that top 10. My sister has a story about hitting a deer because, that's a highway and it's got high cliffs on either side. And she was driving home one night and saw the deer at the top of a cliff and went, no, you don't. No, you don't. He jumped off the edge of the cliff.
Right in front of her car?
So she's coming at it. She's far enough away to watch him jump and see him descend and realize, well, crap. We're going to collide. So she slams on her brakes and ends up... Hold on. The image of this deer coming off of the cliff and her going, no! And then she like bounces it. Like it comes and hits the ground just as her car like comes alongside it and hits him.
Oh, jeez.
And it pings him into the air. And he goes flipping over to the other side of the highway.
Oh, no.
So like just the right moment of force to make him bounce.
Oh, wow. Oh.
Yeah.
I bet that was traumatic for all of them. Certainly for the deer.
Well, apparently he was having a rough day anyways. He's walking off cliffs. He doesn't know what is going on.
This is true.
Like, did he think he could make that jump? I have no idea, but... Yeah, so be careful in Vermont.
No, well, she did the right thing. She didn't veer to avoid the deer. No. Which is... You should not
never do
that. No, hit the deer.
You hit the deer.
Hit the deer,
now,
unfortunately.
A moose, avoid. They say it every time.
Yeah.
Avoid the moose.
Yeah.
The moose will kill you.
Yeah.
Because if you happen to stop and it falls on you, it's tonnage that will crush the car on top of you.
Oh, jeez.
So you don't hit the moose.
Don't hit the moose. Don't.
Hit
and
the deer.
The University of Georgia tested a variety of those whistles that people will put on the front of their car and find that they don't work.
Okay.
Have you not seen those before?
I've never seen those before.
Okay. It's just this little like whistle that you put on the front of the hood.
Yeah.
And it's supposed to be while you're driving, it makes a whistling sound as the air rushes through it, and it's supposed to scare the deer away, and it doesn't work.
Okay.
So don't bother.
Yeah, I feel like the sound of a roaring car coming at it isn't enough. Then a little here boy whistle isn't going to help either.
Yeah, evidently not. Bemidji, Minnesota is indeed a real place.
What a weird name.
A real small place.
Small place.
It's a Native American based name.
I've just never heard it before. I've never heard anything like it before, so it felt so weird to me.
J in the middle.
Yeah, I think maybe that's part of it too.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's a cute name though.
It is cute.
It sounds like a pet name.
Bemidji.
Wouldn't
I'd love to name
so
the same
cute?
dog Bemidji.
Wouldn't it be adorable?
You call him Midge for short.
It's adorable. It's a great name.
It is a great name. Their population in 2019 was just 15,500 people. Very little. It's nicknamed the first city on the Mississippi.
Oh.
And it's self-proclaimed curling capital of the U.S.
Really?
And the alleged birthplace of Paul Bunyan.
What? How have I not heard of this place before?
I don't know, but Bemidji.
It's so cute.
Yeah,
I love it.
I love
It's
it
a
too.
different name. It's very cool.
Mm-hmm. So Molly and Vern, the police officers, find this vehicle that had hit a deer and is abandoned on the side of the road. And they remark that it's going to be unusually cold, 10 below. And I was like, is that really unusually cold for that area?
I felt like that was a little bit of a
No, actually. The average weather in Minneapolis, Minnesota, which is a little further south, so maybe slightly different, but not really significantly different. The temperature typically varies from 9 degrees Fahrenheit to 83 degrees Fahrenheit and rarely gets below -11 or over 92.
Okay.
So the coldest day of the year is typically January the 22nd with the average low temperature of 9 degrees, which is heckin' cold.
It
is
so cold.
really cold, but
nicer than
the negative 10, right?
So, all right.
And the high on that day is usually 24 degrees.
Yeah.
Balmy 24 degrees. All right, so Lester's washing machine, a front load style buck like a Bronco. Is this Lester's bad luck or design flaw in the appliance?
Can we go with both?
Yes. Yes, we can. But I had a front load washing machine for like a decade. And I hated it from about two or 3 years after I bought it.
Okay.
Because it did that. It would like buck and you'd run it and it would walk across the room. I had to like put stuff to make sure it didn't walk so far that it pulled the drain out of the wall. Oof. And we couldn't leave the house while it was running.
Oh gosh.
Because it would block the garage door and we couldn't get in the house. It was stupid. But all that to say, appliancerepair.com says this is very, very common and the biggest complaint that people have about front load washing machines.
Oh, yeah. Because it has to be just so, or else it's gonna. It doesn't have gravity as an assist the way the top loaders used to.
Right.
I mean, it could be a little off, but at least it was spinning with gravity. You know,
right,
like
yes.
everything was. But
it kind of pushed itself down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean.
Yeah. So a lot of manufacturers now recommend that you use an anti-vibration pad from the very first day that you get it. And you should put the anti-vibration pad down, make sure it's level, that your floor is stable. The shock absorbers are usually the culprit. There's like shock absorbers because it doesn't have gravity. It's
right.
Like, it's like a car kind of. And if those go bad, that's why you end up with the walking.
I see.
Yep. So not just Lester, but
yeah, anybody with these washers, we all know that they shake and rattle and roll
it's
far more than like our old ones did.
I'm never going back. Oh, top loader for me from here on out, and they're way cheaper.
Yeah, they are. And I have front loaders, but I have mini ones.
Yeah,
you know, they're tiny.
Yeah,
and so they still shake a little bit, especially in certain cycles.
Right,
so if you use a certain specialty cycle, but in general, they've been all right. So.
Well, but you don't have room for.
Nope, because I have to stack them.
Yeah, you have to be able to stack.
So I would have to either use the 2 front loaders or have to get the old style, almost apartment stackables, where you have the front loader and then the little dryer on top kind of thing. But these work great.
Yeah. Can I tell you, the stackables, whenever we go on vacation and that's what they have, I kind of love them.
They're great. I do. I don't like to do giant loads of laundry because I can't manage folding all of that and getting it all back, and it drives me bananas.
I understand that.
So small loads, like my little laundry basket, is everybody in our house does their own laundry. Like,
yeah, good.
Right? And so my little laundry baskets are these tiny little cute ones from Target that when I was younger, I used to think, that's not a laundry basket. That's like, I mean, you could stage a house with it, I guess. And now I'm like, genius.
If it's not, if you can fill this up, you need to do a load of wash.
Yeah, and that's it. That's all.
That's all that fits in.
I mean, really, you can do a bigger. You could probably even do a comforter in there by itself.
Yeah.
But for laundry, that makes it so much more manageable.
Smaller loads more often.
Yeah, that's it.
Yep. So Lester's brother Chaz massages the ham, supposedly at the instruction of Rachel Ray.
Yeah.
And I was like, really? Like it's supposed to break down the tissue and stuff. So the Journal of Food Science did a study to see how massage affected hams.
Okay.
Now, yes, continuous massaging was superior to intermittent massaging, but of course they're talking about like industrial equipment doing the massaging.
Oh, yeah. Like
not like your hand.
Right.
I'm thinking you'd have to massage it way longer.
This is why they make meat tenderizer stuff.
Yes,
that's supposed
exactly.
to help that when you're cooking.
Yeah, beating the meat, whatever.
Beating the meat. Actually, it's a little bit of a stress reliever. You just go in there and just pound it.
I mean, it makes it taste great. All right, so that machine gun that Chaz showed Lester, very real. The M49 squad automatic weapon. That's what SAW stands for. Chaz keeps saying M49 SAW light machine gun 5.56 millimeter. He goes on and rattles off all these statistics. And I'm like, saw? I didn't really understand what that means. Yeah. Squad automatic weapon. It is typically manufactured in the United States in Columbia, South Carolina, and it's primarily used by the U.S. Armed Forces and is indeed gas operated and air cooled. So, you know, they must have read the same Wikipedia entry that I just did.
They probably did. Somebody on the research team.
That's right. So, can you visit the Lucky Penny strip club? Sort of.
Sort of.
So, the Lucky Penny was actually the border crossing pub.
Okay.
Yes. In Calgary. And they transformed this particular location to be the Lucky Penny, and they touted on their website and said they had great fun doing all the
that's good.
recording. So that's great. All of the sources that we use to inform our discussion here on Killer Fun Podcast can be found on our social media. Join us on Facebook at Killer Fun Podcast, exploring the intersection of crime and entertainment. You can find us on Twitter at Killer Fun Pod, or you can send us an email at killerfunpodcast@gmail.com, and I'd be happy to share a link to whatever information you're looking for. We love to hear from you. You might learn a little something too. Psychology break.
All right. There's
All right.
a lot of broken psychology going on.
Oh, man.
So this is a good episode to do a psychology break on.
There's so many people messed up.
Oh, so many messed up things.
So Lester's bully, Sam Hest, never lost the thrill of bullying a smaller person. So, well, what happens to bullies when they grow up?
Oh, that's a good question.
Michigan State University took a look at this, and Divine Lloyd wrote an article, What Happens When Bullies Become Adults? And rightfully, most of the time when you talk about bullying, you're focused on the victim of the bully. But most bullies are intelligent, popular, and highly charismatic. They also may show traits of anger, aggression, hyperactivity, and violence. So, they do also encounter issues later in life. So people who are bullied tend to have a, deflated sense of self-worth or anxiety, a lot of different things that they can feel. But children who were bullies in grades 6 to 9 are 60% more likely to have a criminal conviction by the age of 24. And 5 times more likely than a victim to have serious criminal record in adulthood. So, they're not well adjusted.
They're not well helped either.
No, they're not.
A lot of that is a big question about what's internal versus what's external forces there and how those intersect.
This is going to blow your mind. So workplace bullying causes $3 billion in lost productivity and a staggering $19 billion loss in employment every year.
It's a huge problem.
It is a huge problem.
Huge.
Especially when you have somebody like Sam Hess, who's a bully and the boss.
Oh, yeah. Because they love being the boss. That's how they get to bully people as adults.
Right.
I mean, really. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's a sad story.
Mm-hmm. It really is. And most bullies, when they're young, they bully because they have been abused at home. And this is a coping mechanism. So, a little sympathy. Mm-hmm. Tempered,
but and there is a difference between kids who pick on kids who are mean to kids who are in the process of growing up and being insecure and lashing out, and bullies. Mm-hmm. We use the word bully a little broadly sometimes, which is, I know that I'm going to get like a lot of backlash, but bring it. I can take it because we have to be careful about what we call bullying versus ill-managed interrelationships in the classroom or at the school or at work or whatever.
Right.
Because bullying is targeted, repeated, and intentional. Mm-hmm. Not the same thing as the mean girls necessarily, unless you're like literally targeted by them.
It could be the mean girls, but it is not necessarily.
Just because they're mean to you.
Right.
They're
mean to everybody.
They're just mean to everyone.
Yeah. That doesn't necessarily make them a bully, but if they're mean to you in particular.
They're taking action steps to make your life worse. These are things. And so we have to be careful, because it's not that being the kid who's made fun of or picked on or just kind of dismissed or laughed at a bunch is easier. But the ways we can help that are different than the ways we need to help a bully and a victim of a bully in that situation.
Right.
And if we don't separate them, then everybody kind of loses, because we're in this big tent mentality, which means we've created a problem of privilege and all sorts of things that go a part of that.
Right. I had a bully when I was in 6th grade, and well, here's the thing. I felt pity for this child later, because even though I know they didn't want to be pitied, but they came to my school as a 6th grader, which was the highest grade in that school.
Okay.
Because they'd already been held back at a different school, and they thought it would be easier for that kid to adjust and have a fresh start at a new school. Okay. So this child was already a year older. She's just very mean to me, definitely targeted me, didn't like me, thought I was weak or whatever, easy target, whatever. Then we went to middle school, and I never saw this kid, really.
Okay.
And then in high school, when I was a sophomore, I had a study hall class.
Okay.
Well, this girl ended up in my study hall class, but she was now a freshman when I was a sophomore. So she'd been held back twice.
Oh, wow.
So I know there was more stuff going on. And by the time we got to high school, this kid didn't bother me anymore. In fact, she wanted to be like buddies and friends. And I'm like, no,
but
we're not going to be friends, but I'm not going to be mean to you.
Right.
I'm not going to coat a piece of paper with glue and put it on your chair and hope that you sit in it.
Right.
I'm not going to do the mean things.
Right. Exactly.
But I did feel like now I was like, oh, that's too bad. They got held back. I'm like, well, that sounds about right. But they probably didn't have a great home life, and I was able to.
And really thinking about when we were at that grade level, there was a good chance that they had a learning disability that wasn't addressed.
Yes. Undiagnosed. Almost certainly. Poor kid.
I know.
That's not poor enough for me to like.
You know what? It's okay to have both.
Yeah.
Not my friend. Don't hold it against you.
Yeah. There you go. There you go. Lester wasn't just bullied by Sam. His wife, Pearl, was unkind routinely as well. And her belittling behavior is unhealthy relationship material.
Oh, yeah. No, that is a 4 horsemen right there. Criticism, contempt.
Big time. Joinonelove.org had an article by Felicia Lynn. We've all heard the old adage, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. But the effects of verbal and emotional abuse are long-lasting and difficult to heal. And belittling can go dismissed as joking or just constructive criticism. But really, I think what Pearl was doing to Lester went far beyond that, and that the cumulative effects of belittling are pretty severe because they really do chip away at the self-esteem. So some of the types of belittling that Pearl engaged in were criticism. She was very, very critical. She was very condescending, discounting and bringing up past failures over and over and over, undermining. So when he did make a good choice or did try and do something nice, she called his competency into question.
Right. Yeah. Almost laughing at him.
Yeah. Mean. She told him she married the wrong Nygart. So he should have spoken up to her, but of course it was a habit already. She had a habit of belittling him, and he had a habit of taking it. He couldn't be firm or patient. He maybe tried to use humor to deflect it a little bit, but he was so nitpicked and had such little self-worth that he really couldn't do that. But you can do that.
Yes, yeah. Absolutely.
But Pearl did tell Lester, you make your own wins. So this was cruel and really meant to tell him that he wasn't trying hard enough. There's some merit to celebrating small wins. So in lifehack.org has an article, How to Celebrate Small Wins to Achieve Big Goals. Basically, they're talking about breaking your big, hard to achieve goals down into little things. And when you achieve the little thing, be happy about it. Celebrate it in some way, even if it's just like, oh, I deserve a cup of coffee for doing that. Or, you know, go out to dinner or whatever the small reward is. It helps keep you motivated and
right.
Yeah.
I mean,
makes you feel
really,
better about yourself.
A goal is only as worthy as the steps you take to get there. And so you have to celebrate every one of them.
Yeah.
Because that's what makes the goal worthy.
Right. Yes.
Because otherwise it's just a cool goal or a fantasy or whatever. If it's a worthy goal, you'll take steps to get there. And if you take steps to get there, that's actually what makes it worth it. So, yes, celebrate
the journey
the
rather than the destination, that sort of thing.
Yes. I mean, in a lot of ways. I mean, the destination is good, but you also can't get there unless you plan the journey and you take small steps to get there. But, but thank you, Steven Tyler, for making it a melody in our heads. Life's a journey, not a destination.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah.
That was like Aerosmith, like in its resurgence. You know? It was great stuff.
Yeah. All right, then. Have you seen a picture of Steven Tyler lately?
Not recently.
What did I see? He looks like your mom that's cool if people drink as long as nobody drives. And he's just got this, like, lots of earrings, and his hair is long, so he had it pulled up because it was hot, but he's got this, like, white streak in the top of his head, and he just looks very 90s mom. I'm not going to lie. And then the last thing in Psychology Break, there's all these fish. Did you notice all the fish?
No.
So there's the poster.
Oh, yeah, I did see the fish.
That's in that.
Yeah.
Okay. So
it's the what if you're right and they're wrong. And it's the one fish that's going upstream when everybody else is going downstream.
Right. And Lester kind of, it's covered in his wife's blood, and he looks at it and kind of seems like it's becoming this mantra for him. Like, she was wrong. She was wrong to treat me like that. And maybe I'm right. She shouldn't have killed her. It's not right.
Not right to kill her.
It's not right. And then there was the thing when Lorne was checking into a motel, and they ask him if he has any pets, and they're talking about, like,
and then
dogs
he
and cats.
He has a fish.
Yeah, is a fish a pet? Do I need to pay for that? What if I keep spiders?
Yeah.
Which was, I thought, really funny and very dark and interesting, but way, way weird to be asking if you're trying to keep a low profile. And that just shows, like, how much
audacity he has.
Exactly.
Because he actually is being smart. There's two ways to keep a low profile. Stand out and take all the attention, or don't be seen.
Yeah.
Right? In that regard, she was asking identifiable questions, and he threw her completely off.
Yeah.
Like, completely off the scent that he was creepy.
Yeah.
By being even more weird and creepy.
But he seemed weird and creepy in a more benign sort of way.
Right. Now you're just eccentric.
Okay.
So now she might remember him if asked, but she's not calling anybody.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I hadn't thought of it that way. And then at the very end of the episode, Molly's father, Lou, Molly the detective, her father, Lou, goes ice fishing.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And she declines to join him.
Yes.
So it feels like there's this whole thing
fish.
about...
You're right, there's a lot of fish.
There's a lot of fish, and later in the season, there's even more fish.
Yeah,
There's other fish stuff happening, but it's just...
Why? Why is there fish?
The showrunner said the fish symbolize what they symbolize. That was as much like clarity as he'll give. But there's something about, like, cold, I think, and focused on a goal without a lot of care for the people around you, a lot of self-preservation. There's not a lot of community in fish, despite the fact that they swim in schools, but they swim in schools for individual preservation as much as group preservation.
Yeah, well, they are not civilized.
No.
They don't have packs.
Nope.
They have no loyalty.
Right.
Yeah, okay.
So I think that's kind of how it is. Like, they're they live in groups, but they're all very individualistic.
Which is why they're always just going to be fish.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah. They're
Interesting.
just going to be fish.
Oh, I have wow, whole rabbit hole opening. There's like a vortex in my mind right here and like up and like a whole black hole is opening. Oh. Yeah, we're not going to go down there, but something about fish and sheep and all kinds of things like that.
Okay. Interesting. Ooh, that got biblical all of a sudden. Fish and sheep and...
Yeah. Or maybe it got political.
Oh, okay.
Or maybe it got just philosophical.
Well, there you go. That's fine too. That's fine too. All right, real life. So we heard some Minnesota sayings.
Oh yeah, those are great. These are fantastic.
To beat the band. Oh heck, don't you know?
Oh, I love it. Oh heck,
So,
that's just my favorite one.
Oh heck. What are some real sayings from the land of 10,000 lakes, Minnesota? Below, which they mentioned before, is a slang for below zero. Okay. So they mentioned that when they're talking about the weather, it's going to be 10 below. And that's like a known slang term.
Is that slang though? I don't think I ever realized it was slang. I always thought it was just,
or,
I guess, short.
I mean, some places would say -10, or it's going to it's going to be below zero. It's going to be 10 below zero, 10 below.
It.
Yeah.
Whereas they shorten it.
Right. Because it's not common, but it's common enough.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Minnesota nice, this is saying, where people are just, maybe a little more polite in Minnesota. We had a Minnesotan goodbye this weekend.
Oh.
Our families had a Minnesotan goodbye, which is just a really long, drawn-out departure from a gathering.
Yeah. We were saying, okay, we're going to leave now, but now we're talking about all this stuff, and now we're going to talk about it all the way to the door, and then maybe down the walkway, we'll stop to chase the dog to make sure the dog doesn't go into the street. But then once the dog's in the truck...
Yeah. Then
now we're chatting again.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
It's true.
So, yeah, we used to joke about this, my husband and I. It takes us 30 minutes to leave anywhere.
Yeah.
And we're having a Minnesotan goodbye.
Yeah, it's true. Like, I think we all have different terms for that, but I think that exists everywhere. It's just hard, unless you're leaving a meeting.
Right.
Where because nobody wants to turn around and be like, oh, we've had such a nice dinner, you are dismissed. Like, it doesn't, there's like a wind down. Yeah. Nice,
not to be confused with Minnesota nice. It's a single word that can have a whole lot of meanings. It could be just like, that's nice. It could be, well, the snowplow just covered up my car. Nice. A little sarcastic.
Yeah, a little sarcastic.
So it's like, but it's nicely sarcastic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oop. It's like, oops. Oop. Yeah. But it's just so, like, northern.
It is.
And so
something
cute.
About it.
And then You Betcha.
You Betcha.
You Betcha was my other favorite one. And there's, of course, tons of these. A lot of them not set in the show, so I was thinking to bring them up. But I picked my favorites.
Yeah, I like the You Betcha and the Oh Heck.
Yeah,
that's funny because they say that to like really dire circumstances in the
and
the
it's
show,
just so like,
and you're like, oh look, I accidentally just killed someone. Oh heck.
Well, now I got a mess to clean up.
Yeah.
That kind of
nice.
Nice.
That's funny.
Lauren is driving that car at the beginning, and you hear the thumping because somebody's in the trunk. And I thought, shouldn't there be a release in that trunk?
There are.
Okay.
And a lot.
Yes. So I looked it up.
Okay.
Well,
of course, wasn't he tied? No, he wasn't tied up.
No, he wasn't tied up because when the car crashed, he got out in his underwear and boots.
Yeah.
And froze in the... Yeah.
Okay.
The federal motor vehicle safety standards did not include an interior truck release until October of 2000.
Okay.
So I think the vehicle may have been older. So it wasn't required in new vehicles until September 1st, 2001.
Okay.
So it seemed like it was maybe it was 2006 when this was supposed to have been taking place. And that car didn't look brand new.
No, it didn't. It is interesting because I remember going up and being told how to get out of a trunk.
Oh, okay.
Right? Like, because there wasn't a release. But then I remember being an adult and learning, oh, there's a release. Well, why didn't they just tell me to use that? And then I, had learned that, of course, it was new. But that was, when I was in college or whatever.
Right.
Or after college, I suppose. So.
Okay.
But anyways, it was after college, but I had become aware of it somehow that, oh, they have a release now. Wouldn't that be nice, But when I was in high school and in early college, being told how to get out.
Yeah, like you kick the light out and all that stuff. Yeah. I had an issue with a car, which is a whole other story. I always had hatchbacks since, other than like my very first car. Every other car I've ever had is a hatchback. But I had a rental car for an extended period of time. And the kids thought it was so much fun to climb into the trunk of that car and use the release to open it.
That is so funny.
We wanted to make sure that they knew how to do that. So if something happened and they needed to get out of it, they could. Or if, if there was some kind of accident and the back seat had fallen down, if they couldn't get out a door, they could go pull the trunk release and get out that way. So we wanted them to know about that.
Right.
But they thought it was the funniest thing that we closed them in.
I've never tried it.
Oh.
I've never tried it. Like I said, I only learned about it kind of like, outwardly. I might have to try that one day.
No, you don't want to climb into a trunk.
I don't know, just to try it.
I don't know. You have a bad back. You don't want to climb into a trunk.
I'm still pretty nimble.
Yeah, well, that's true. You are.
But,
you are.
Just to try it.
But and it glows in the dark too. The little latch,
see, that
so
makes
you can
sense.
find it.
I think I've seen it. I've just never used it. I haven't had a car with a trunk in quite some time now.
No, yeah.
So
I hope to never have one again. Honestly, I like my hatchbacks.
Yeah.
Hence, I've always had one.
Yeah.
Basically, yeah. So all of the people in this first episode, none of them was more well suited to their job than Molly.
Yeah, it's so true.
Because there's gross stuff, and she's like a little bothered by it, but also really interested in it.
Yeah.
It was so fun. So allbusiness.com has signs that you've picked the right career.
Okay, all right, let's hear them.
You genuinely enjoy the work. I enjoy making podcasts.
Me too.
You enjoy singing.
I do.
I enjoy crocheting, even though it's not really a job.
Right.
Yeah. You're confident. You feel good about what you're doing. And, after 10 episodes of this podcast,
we figured it out.
I figured it out eventually. So if you listen to those first episodes, forgive me. I didn't know what I was doing, but I did it anyway, which I kind of felt like.
And that's the confidence.
Yeah,
I mean, really.
Exactly. Don't sweat the off days.
Okay.
So if you have a bad day.
Oh no. Songs in my head now.
Oh, sorry. If you have a bad day. Yeah. So Molly didn't always find the information she was looking for, and she wasn't always believed. Those made for bad days. Not good days. Certainly not. But she persevered. You've got a good team, so you work with good people who can help you. That's always helpful. And at least some of the people that Molly worked with were good at their job and enjoyed what they did. Mm-hmm. Maybe not Bill.
Maybe not Bill.
And you're eager to grow. You want to do better and learn more and be better at what you do. And Molly very much desired to be chief.
That's right. There's something about being static and not wanting to learn anymore, which is a bad sign. Mm-hmm. It could be a sign of other things too.
Right.
But could be a sign that especially if it happens quickly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe it's time to look for a career change or at least a more challenging environment.
Yeah. Or just put some attention toward deciding that you're going to be above that.
Right.
That you're going to learn something new.
Yeah. So poor Lester told us that he was stuffed into a barrel and rolled onto the highway by Sam Hess, his bully.
Yeah, that sounded extreme.
And it might have been a hint at his association with the mafia as an adult, including that story. Now, how he did not get arrested even as a teenager when he did that, I don't know, because it's extraordinarily dangerous.
It is.
What if he'd killed Lester?
I know, but I mean, it seem like a lot of stuff, even the most concerning things way back when, they just didn't call the cops about that stuff. They just dragged you home by your ear. And yet now, sometimes we almost go overboard the other way.
Yeah.
I mean, but that's how societies are. We pendulum trying to course correct.
Right. Yeah.
Like he should have absolutely.
He should have gone to prison.
I mean, he should have absolutely been.
Yeah.
Like that was not okay.
Yeah. But so a barrel murder is an execution style used in early American mafioso.
Okay.
So, but they didn't really like murder them in a barrel. They shot them and stuffed their bodies in a barrel and then, left them in
it's sort of
back alleys and street corners or
so
shipped them
quintessential.
I mean, it's just like the
and then
whole
Breaking
thing.
Bad took that idea and just really twisted it.
Wow, we just watched we've been watching Breaking Bad with
yeah.
my youngest kid and we've decided that 13's old enough to watch it and they think that we're the coolest ever and we just watched last night them put somebody in a barrel and pour stuff over them and acid over them. Yeah, it was like ew
effective and ew.
Yeah. There was a real man from Minnesota who murdered his wife with a hammer.
Oh.
Yeah. Now, it didn't happen till 2008, but of course, this was set in 2006, but didn't come out until 2014. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if it was inspired in any way. Probably not.
Probably not.
Because the showrunner said definitely not. He didn't use any. But, he may have read an article about Matthew Gretz, and he murdered his wife, Kira Simonian, and he had played a grieving widower for several weeks. And once they found out that it was him who actually did it, the family was very, very angry. And when they arrested him, he confessed and pleaded guilty to second-degree intentional murder. He stabbed her 15 times and then smashed her head with a hammer.
Ooh, wow. Yeah. That's overkill.
Yeah, it was. And the sad thing is that they'd been married for 3 years, and every year she wrote a little tribute on their anniversary, and they had just celebrated their third wedding anniversary, and she wrote nice things every single year they were married about how she was so grateful that she'd married him and he was supporting her as she was getting her master's degree from the Minneapolis College of Art and Design because she wanted to teach art. And
so what was his story? Did he ever say why he snapped?
Mm-mm. But he did flee to New York before the police could really talk to him.
Oh.
Yeah. So, too bad, so sad. Sit your butt in jail.
That's right.
Yeah. So there are legal ways to own a machine gun. So they're
machine guns?
Yes.
Like a machine gun?
Like the kind of weapon that Lester had. Okay. Or not Lester. Like the kind of weapon that Chaz had.
Okay.
So it's very tightly controlled and very expensive. So the range702.com has a whole article about it. And they're really difficult to obtain, but there are legal ways to own them. And a lot of hobbyists see them as the ultimate part of their collection.
Yeah, it's like their holy grail.
Yes. So basically, a machine gun is you pull the trigger and it fires until you let go. It keeps firing.
Fully automatic.
That's a fully automatic weapon. Whereas you don't have to pull the trigger repeatedly.
Right.
Yeah. So you can't be a prohibited person from owning firearms. So you've been convicted of any crime that is punishable by more than a single year in prison. You're a felon, a fugitive. You use controlled substances unlawfully. You have a mental defect of some kind. If you've ever been in a mental institution, you're a prohibited person. Former military who were dishonorably discharged would not qualify. Right. So that...
And they're trying to add to that list.
Yes.
They're trying to add convicted of domestic abuse.
Oh, good. That's
because
smart.
That is one of those correlations that is mind-blowing.
Yeah.
Because it's 100%.
Yeah, it's like the Venn diagram is two circles on top of each other.
Yeah, which is mind-blowing in the research. And I mean, the thought is we just got to do more research. There's no way. But it's so remarkably close for most of these bigger mass shootings and etc. that they are abusive to women, or they have low views of women, and they have expressed those before. And when that's the case, it's like 100%, which is like, wow. Even if we did enough research to get it out of 100%, because how likely is that? Like, that just feels wrong.
Right.
It's obviously going to be really high.
Right. Yes.
But the fact that it's 100% with as much research as we've done, which is a lot.
Yeah. Is it really statistically all that different if it's 9 times out of 10 or 10 times out of 10?
I mean, not really. But you wouldn't expect even to see, 90, that's even unheard of.
Yeah.
87, that would be like an excellent.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like 87% accountable. I mean, for the outcome. I mean,
yeah, that
100?
would be,
That's insane.
Yeah, it is insane. What are some of the stipulations? Well, it can't be a new machine gun. Any machine gun made after 1986 is prohibited from being owned by a civilian. They're only for military personnel and only in controlled environments.
Right. So you can still be Rambo, but but nobody else.
Pretty much.
Yeah, you can be Rambo.
Yes. And the gun had to be registered at the time that the act was passed. That's the Firearms Owners Protection Act. So that if the gun was not registered with the government at the time the act was passed, you cannot legally own it. And if you live in California, Illinois, or New Jersey, you cannot possess, manufacture, or sell a machine gun. So basically, really super restricted. And then there's a bunch of other things that fall under these acts: silencers, short barrel rifles, cane guns and pen guns, short barrel shotguns, fully automatic machine guns. All of these things are generally, you have to have very strict control. You have to register them. Owners have to be passed. You have to pass a FBI background check that it's extremely thorough and costs a lot of money to do and takes 9 to 12 months to complete. So if you're going to buy a machine gun, you're not a prohibited person, all this stuff, you want to do it, you have to submit your information so that you can have a background check done by the FBI. It takes 9 to 12 months to complete it. And only then, after you've been approved, can you take possession of the weapon.
Wow. I mean, after all of that, you should also just go apply for government service.
I mean, for real.
And go do a great government job and retire, because you're going to pass all your, your secret.
That's right.
Clearance.
Yeah, you're going to have like top level clearance.
I mean, come on.
You can have it, but yeah. And it costs at least a minimum of $20,000 for the gun. And for rarer guns with better documentation, $50,000 or more.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's why it's very like
man's game.
Yeah, yes, it's just, and where are you going to shoot it? They use 50 to 1,000 rounds a minute.
I know, it's so much.
It's
picture Rambo.
So much, yes, it's so many, and they're prohibitively expensive for most people.
For most.
So that's it for today. So next time we're going to watch a show where a blind woman seeks justice for a slain friend. It's a CW dramedy. It's a little funny, but it's also a drama and kind of dark. It's called In the Dark.
Makes sense.
Yes, because she's a blind woman. She's in the dark.
In the dark.
And she's in the dark because she doesn't know what happened to her friend.
Okay.
And she's desperate to find out, and it's so much fun.
Awesome. I'm looking forward to this because I had never heard of it.
Yeah, it's on Netflix. The first 2 seasons are on Netflix right now. The 3rd season's coming, I believe, in September, because the 3rd season is currently airing on the CW. So if you get through the first 2 seasons and just can't wait, you can watch it with ads on the CW app.
There you go.
So who has done that? That might be me. I might have sat through ads, which I don't typically do ever.
Yeah.
To find out what happens next.
Well, good to know that it's that good.
It was very enjoyable.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I'm looking forward to it.
Yep. Until next time, be safe, be kind, and wash your hands.
Da, da, da.